Hello there guys, Francis Gray here, and in today's video we're going to be making a one-off custom display diorama of Altair from Assassin's Creed. I'll see you after this. Okay guys, so in this video basically I am going to build a custom diorama of Altair from Assassin's Creed 1 and a little bit of a Revelations. No spoilers there, you've had ages to play the game. So yeah, so basically in a nutshell, when the game was released, the first game, they released an artwork to promote it, and part of it is he's leaping through the air and he's getting ready to assassinate a Black Templar knight, and ever since seeing it I always thought that was a really cool image, and I always wondered if it could be one day made into a custom diorama. So yeah, so today is that day, today is that video. So bit of a hobby kind of confession to make. I actually started this build about 10 years ago, and yeah, due to a house move it got shelved. Not only shelved, it got put right at the back of a crawl space. So yeah, it's been in the dark for about 9 years now. So yeah, it's pretty bad, isn't it? It's yeah, if you've built a model and shelved it for longer than 9 years, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know how long for and what it actually was. But yeah, so yeah, long story short, back then when I was making these models, I didn't film them and I didn't put my builds up on YouTube. All I did was take photographs and upload the process of the build on social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And yeah, so I haven't got any video to show of the beginning of the build, but I can show you the photos and describe what's going on. It won't take long, it'll take about 5 minutes, something like that, to describe, and then we can crack on with the build as normal. So instead of me rabbiting on, sit back. So instead of me rabbiting on, sit back and enjoy, and I will see you at the end. Okay, so to start things off, now I know what my inspiration for this model diorama is going to be. So to start things off, I thought I'd best look online to see if I can find any decent models or statues on the good old medieval knight. So I went to good old eBay and I had a look around, and there was a load of different statues came up to choose from, but only one I thought would fit more or less perfect. So I was really lucky to find this. So this is a solid resin casted statue. I don't know who was made by. I've only ever seen the one for sale, and it's of like a Templar knight, and he's housed in a fighting stance, which is perfect for what we need today. So I took some quick measurements. So this statue, not including the base, just the main figure itself, going up to is just under 12 inches high, and it's roughly 8.5 inches wide. So that makes this roughly 1:6 scale, which is a really good scale to work with. So now that I've got this figure back, for the next stage I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chop a lot of parts off. So yeah, so I started off by chopping off his head, his right hand, and obviously the shield. And the reason for that is so I can model these parts to have a bit of a different stance to them. So like for example, like the right hand was pointed more to the right than it was straight up, and I want this character to be housing a sword rather than like a spear or something like that. Now, the only problem with this is the original statue came along with a sheathed sword in a scabbard. So yeah, same again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chop that off as well, and then we can go ahead and think about adding a new sword. Now, going back to eBay, I also found this sword, which is a fancy letter opener, and it is made of white metal, and it is roughly also 1:6 scale, so this is perfect for this knight. So once I got this back, I basically just chopped off the hilt part of it into 2 parts, and then this can be added snugly into the knight's right hand, and then we can go ahead and attach that back into position. So before I start going ahead and adding all the extra parts, I thought we'd best start by finding a decent base and adding this statue to a base to build up around. So luckily I had this already in my garage from a statue that I bought a long time ago, and I customized it, but I didn't need the base. So this base should fit this perfect. So I need to make it a little bit longer than the actual knight, because obviously you have to remember we have to include Altair the assassin as well. So this base is a nice chunky thick base, solid wood, and what I did is I epoxy resined it and stuck it into position, and then I went ahead with various different types of screws, and then screwed in like a bulk, I suppose, that we can go ahead and wrap some wire around, and then when we add the air dry modelling clay, the clay has something to hold on to, which keeps it a lot more secure, and I don't have to worry about any parts like cracking or sliding off or coming away. And after leaving it a good 48 hours to fully cure, I then went ahead and reattached the knight's head, and I went ahead and repositioned the shield / arm. So now that the knight's coming along nicely, we need to go ahead and buy a statue of Altair. Now, I got this secondhand on eBay, and it wasn't in the best of conditions, I'll be honest. There was a few bits that were warped, a few bits that were like sticky to the touch. It might have belonged originally in like a smoker's environment. So this took a lot of clean up to get rid of all those stubborn sticky stains. But I'm thankful to say, with it being PVC, it did clean up rather nicely, and probably helped that I have to take this kit apart, or this statue apart, in order to make this look like he's leaping through the air to kill his target. So to start things off, after taking it apart, I decided to work on the leg part first, just because I really wanted to get that like flowing natural in comparison. And after a lot of tinkering and a big metal armature connecting the 2 pieces together, we go ahead and Altair looks like he is naturally flying through the air, ready to make his kill. So this is so far this is going along rather well. So now that this is starting to shape up, for the next stage I need to go ahead and make Altair's robes look more like it's one natural piece, because obviously having to cut this up into different bits, there's quite a lot of hideous seam lines. So yeah, good old Abe's epoxy to the rescue. So I just took my time and applied a thin layer to all the different parts, and when it comes to like those like little extra parts that like I don't even know what they'll call, like side sashes maybe, these are little extra bits that flap about.
What?
Apologies for if these are for a technical name. I don't know if they're actually part of the main robe or not, but yeah, we need to go ahead and animate those to make it look like he's flying through the air, and obviously the wind's disturbing them and etc. So in order to do that, I basically just took a regular soda can, cut it in half, cleaned it all out, cut the metal out, and then just traced around the rough size of what these little extra parts are, and then just bent them into shape. Same again, Abe's epoxy to the rescue, and then a nice pin drill system and some glue, some hot glue, to keep it all together. And once that had been left to fully harden, I then went round with some thick taut string, and then I super glued it to the outline ridge of Altair's robes, just so it gives across a little bit more of definition, or a little bit more visual interest, and makes it look more fabric rather than just a bunch of modelling clay on basically bits of metal or bits of vinyl. So while we've still got this soda can, I decided to cut more parts out so we could make the knight's visor a little bit more classic knight rather than the open face version. I wanted to really represent like a kick-ass templar knight like we see in the games. So same again, just cut it to like a rectangle shape, and then carefully cut out another rectangle split in where the eyes are going to be. And as you can see there, that this is starting to take shape nicely, so this is looking a lot more mysterious and badass than the version that we originally got. So once again, Ibs Epoxy to the rescue, give it a thin layer going all the way around, then once hardened I then went in with a nail file and smoothed it all down, and then I went in with some very thin strips of leather that I could cut to shape and make the knight's helmet look visually way more interesting. And then I went ahead and give a couple of base coat colours to the base to make it start look like it's all one piece now. And then, sadly, this project got shelved for 9 years due to a house move.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Okay guys, so here we have what I have built so far. So the little quick photo montage was brought up to speed, and as you can see here, it's been in the crawl space for over about 9 years, and as a result, look at all those spider webs. Look at that, everywhere. So yeah, very dusty and very, I hate to say it, neglected. But yeah, there we go. So quick up and down for you. So yeah, so one positive with it though is, with this being like 9 years left, we can guarantee that Altair and the knight are one solid piece, that there's no warping, there's no bending, nothing like that. So that is a positive. I know that Altair, as long as he doesn't get smacked or anything like that, I know that he will be in position, leaping forward, ready to make the kill, and I don't have to worry about warping or anything like that. So we've got some extra pieces. So this is Altair's sword, so I need to go ahead and add that in a moment. And I made and 3D printed a Assassin's Creed logo. So yeah, and that's just a bit of modelling clay, so it fits onto the base nice and snug. So it's made to measure. Yeah. So yeah, so instead of me waffling on, let's crack on with the build. First part is Operation Cleanup.
"48 hours later."
And now I'm going to go in with some water and a stipple brush, and I'm going to take my time and I'm going to give this a quick wash. And after about a good half an hour, yep, that is a lot cleaner. So now we can leave that to dry and then crack on with the paint job. So even though it's a lot cleaner, spending 9 years in a crawl space does take its toll on the whites. So I'm going to go over with 2, maybe 3 coats of a generic white acrylic paint just to try and make this more vibrant. And now that the whites are vibrant, we're going to go in and we're going to enrich some of the blacks. So I'm going to use some black surface primer from Vallejo. So I've got to be quite delicate with this part because I don't want any of the blacks to overlap on either the silver on the outskirts of the shield, or more importantly the red cross inside. So since I've got some black paint still on the palette, I don't want it to go waste, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to refresh some of the blacks on the bottom of the wooden base. And now I'm going to go in with a natural grey from Model Colour, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint the Altair's sleeves and his trousers, which seems to be a dark grey. And now I'm going to go in with a mahogany brown from Model Air, and I'm going to refresh all of the leather parts on both Altair and the Knight.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And next we are going to go in with a scarlet red again from Model Air, and I'm going to refresh all of those vibrant reds. Same again on the Knight and Altair.
Alright.
And now I'm going to go in with a lighter brown. This is just an acrylic paint, no official brand to show you. Just a little bit on a stipple brush, and then take your time to go over it, and then that will highlight all the lovely, well, highlights.
No way!
And I also did the same to all the leather part on Altair. And then I went in with a watered down grey watercolour, and then I added some darker shading to some of the recesses and folds of Altair's robes, because we want it to be bright, like white, vibrant white, but we don't want it to be like you need sunglasses to look at it white. So if that makes any sense, we want to highlight some of the shadows and stuff like that, just to add a little bit more visual interest overall. And then I mixed a acrylic black wash, and then I've went over all the chainmail of the knight's armor, and then basically what this does is it just runs into all the little recesses, and then it just highlights that detail, and then we can just gently wipe away the excess with a nice clean towel or a nice clean kitchen roll, and that'll go ahead and make this a lot more detailed. And now I'm going to go in with a silver from Game Colour, and I'm going to go ahead and paint over all the metal parts. So that is including all the thrown knives, and Altair has a lot of thrown knives, his hidden blade, and obviously all the parts on the Knight as well.
It's been 84 years.
And for the next part, I need to go ahead and recreate some of the blacks of the detailed areas on Altair's left hand brassiere, if you like. And in order to do that, instead of going in with a really deep dark black. I thought I'd go in with the primer because it tends to be a little bit lighter and it runs in crevices a little bit easier. So this is going to go great for getting in the little nooks and crannies, and then just wipe away the excess, and then that should go a long way to making this look a bit more vibrant. Okay guys, so for the next stage I'm going to go in with a chrome pen, and I'm going to add a edge highlight to various parts. Yeah, seriously guys, if you haven't got one of these chrome pens, I strongly suggest you get one. They are absolute fantastic. They are a real game changer.
Ride eternal, shining and chrome.
And now I'm going to go in with some various shades of brown watercolour, and I'm going to stain the bottom of the cloak because, yeah, let's face it, it would be filthy. And for the next part I'm going to go in with some regular super glue, and we're going to super glue those red dangly bits to his sash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And for the next part we need to go ahead and scratch build a sword scabbard for the knight, because after 9 years in a crawl space, yeah, I lost the original and I couldn't really find it. So yeah, this is basically just two large, kind of like popsicle sticks, I suppose, or lollipop sticks, but they're made for mixing resin, so they're a bit longer. So two of those super glued together, and then I drew out a rough estimate of the size of what the scabbard should be, cut it to shape, added a pin system to it, and then same again, Abe's epoxy to the rescue, and then a little bit of fine tweaking, and then we've got a nice scabbard to add to the knight.
Alright.
And now that the knight's got his sword and scabbard, I thought Altair could do with the same. So I've been working on this off camera just to save a little bit of time, but basically it's more or less the same steps, same brown, same light brown dryer brush, chrome pen, silver paint, you get the idea. So yeah, so I'm just going to go in with regular super glue both sides of the connecting piece of the leather, and then obviously a little bit on top of the hilt of the sword. Sandwich it in place, make sure it's nice and snug, and then leave it to dry. And now I'm going to go in with a dark flesh from Model Colour, and I'm going to go ahead and give a light highlight to all of Altair's skin. And now in with a sharp toothpick and some gold from Game Colour, and I'm going to go ahead and add 3 vertical lines, or vertical and horizontal I suppose, lines to around the cross, because that basically seems to show up quite prominent in the first game. And now back in with the Scarlet Red, just to go over the modelling clay that we used to bridge the gap between both parts of the sash. And then I decided to use some of this chain and house it between the cloak. So normally there's like a bit of chain that they'll wrap around it so they can get easy access to putting the cloak on and off. So I thought I needed to incorporate that. So I'm just going to go in with some sharp snippers, some super glue, and a trusty toothpick. And I'm going to go ahead and hold it in place and leave it to dry. Okay guys, we're at the halfway point roughly, and I just wanted to say if you're enjoying this video, please slap that like button, and if you want to be a really awesome viewer, why not hit the subscribe button, because you really don't want to miss out on future builds that we've got in the pipeline, and we have got some cool stuff coming up. So, back to the video. So for the next part we need to go ahead and crack on with the base. So as you can see there, the base is looking rather dull. So I'm going to go in with some various shades of watercolour to start off with, and just add various like browns and greens, etc., just to try and make things look a little bit more natural. So yeah, fast forward montage.
What follows is a brief construction montage. We hope you enjoyed this brief construction montage.
So now that the main base is looking a lot more detailed and a bit more natural, for the next stage I'm going to go in with some regular matte clear varnish, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray the full model, and this will do two things. It'll protect the paintwork of the two figures, and it'll also add a nice protective layer securing what we've just added to the base. So this will go a long way to making it all a lot more protected and solid. And now all that's protected, for the next stage we need to go ahead and protect under the base. So I have some nice red felt, so obviously red for parts of the assassin and reds for also parts of the templar. It's the colour that mainly connects the two pieces, so red base is definitely a must in this case. So yeah, so I'm just going to go in with just some regular PVA glue, square it on there, smush it around so it's nice and even, and then just sandwich the model onto the felt, and then just leave it overnight to fully dry.
24 hours later.
And now that that's been left to fully dry, for the next stage I'm going to go in with some very sharp scissors, and we're going to go ahead and trim off the excess.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
And now I'm going to go in with the pre-made and newly painted Assassin's Creed logo, and I'm going to go ahead and add a few little scratch marks to the modelling clay and also the base, and then just regular soup glue to the rescue, and then those scratches should help keep this nice and tight on the base. And now that it's looking a lot more finished, there's only one more thing left to do, and that's to go in with a nice gloss varnish from Vallejo and give it 2 coats and then leave it to dry. And then I believe we are finished. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's a shame that it got put at the back of a crawl space, shelved for 9 years, but thankfully it did clean up very well, and a bit of TLC and a new paint job, and it just goes to show you just a little bit of work that goes a long way, and it's worth it in the end. So yeah, so if you've enjoyed this video, please slap that like button, share on Facebook and Twitter/X, because it helps new people find the YouTube channel, which I'm always appreciative. Thank you for any help. If you have any comments, comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you want to be really awesome, smack that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future builds and that. And I really could do with your help, because we're near the 2,000 subscriber mark. And after that, the next goal is going to be 3,000. So with your help, we can get there. And if you want to be a really awesome viewer, please take 5 minutes to check out my Patreon page, where with your help, we can do these videos full-time rather than part-time, which means a lot more content for you and a lot more work for me. So, once again, I'm Francis Gray, and this is Altair versus the Black Knight Templar. I'll see you in the next build.